Mid-Michigan Honor Flight takes veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the memorials dedicated to their service and to the service of those who served alongside them, who made the ultimate sacrifice. But Honor Flight couldn't fly for 31 months due to pandemic health concerns. That changed in June. After a nearly 3-year wait, veterans and their guardians gathered for the trip of a lifetime, and along the way, witnessed the price of freedom.
It is awesome to have the Honor Flight back, and we were able to bring 77 veterans, 12 World War II veterans, 30 plus Korean War veterans, and the rest Vietnam veterans to Washington, D.C., see the memorials and to spend the day with them.
Mission number 13 for Mid-Michigan Honor Flight. And first, a moment to realize not everyone who wanted to make this journey could.
We lost quite a few Korean War veterans during the pandemic. One day I made 8 phone calls, and I had 8 Korean War veterans that were deceased, 8 of them in a row. And that just, kind of drove a nail in my enthusiasm. Then I called the next guy, and he was, sounded excited on the phone, but I didn't get a real, sense of excitement from him. And then when he thought I had hung up, I heard him say, "Yahoo!" And that was an infusion of enthusiasm and got me going, and so we were able to get everything together and get this flight and get it in the air and make it happen.
The World War II guys that are dying in Korea are in their 90s, where the Vietnam guys are in their 69, 70, 71, 72, and I'm 75, and we've already buried a bunch of guys younger than me already, so Agent Orange has taken its toll, and and it's good to see these guys here.
There was just 12 World War II veterans in the group.
And I bet 10 years ago that was a different story when you went.
I think it was just World War II veterans then, yeah.
It is very special. And the women of it, I think, are probably just not overlooked, but a lot of people don't know that people are in the service or was in the service.
This is fantastic. I just could not ever imagine being able to do something like this ever in my lifetime. And I am so looking forward to it and seeing all of the older gentlemen that are out there still from either World War II or Korea. I mean, it warms my heart to think that they're able to have this opportunity.
You'll see us hugging each other and getting in a line and putting our hands on each other's shoulders and getting right back in the trenches like what we left.
To some of them, they never realized how much their service meant to not just their family and their friends, but to other people, strangers that they don't know.
Thank you guys for your service.
Oh, thank you, Annie. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And to see them and share that experience with the veterans.
Fewer World War II veterans are making the trip. 100-year-old Herb Elfring is one of them.
You're the Pearl Harbor survivor.
Yeah.
And was there at Pearl Harbor.
Yes, well, I was in the Army and just down the shoreline from Pearl Harbor. But the Japanese knew where every military installation was on the island, and I think they hit all of us. Yeah. But until that first, I could hear the zero coming, but didn't pay much attention to it. And until he laid his line of bullets right down about 15 feet away from me, did I look up and see a red ball on the fuselage of the plane and said, "My gosh, that's a Japanese plane."
At the World War II Memorial, he's honoring the 405,399 American souls lost in the war, each star representing 100 of them, knowing he's among the last living Americans who truly know this price of freedom.
It's touching to we'll go over all the things that happened and realize that you're one that is left. All my friends that I knew are gone. And I may be the last one of the battery of 125 soldiers. Hey, Leone!
With generations of his family showing up at the memorial to thank him for his service.
How you doing, honey? How you doing, honey? Hey, Leah! Oh, boy. This is a pleasure.
Kind of got that nickname from growing up in the Everglades down in South Florida on a 500-acre cattle ranch, you know, playing in the swamps. And most kids would come home with dogs and cats. I come home with baby alligators. I used to play with them all the time, and my mom and dad kind of nicknamed me that.
Lawrence Gator Howard lives in Gaylord now, but in 1971, at the age of 16, he got his parents' permission to enlist, even after what happened to his brother.
My older brother went in. I was one of 7 kids, and my older brother went in, and he got killed in November of 1969. He was 183rd Airborne.
And now he was in Vietnam.
I got off the airplane there, and my butt was shaking. I mean, it literally was. I was like, what in the heck did I get myself into, you know? And there were guys my age right there with me, too. It's an eye-opener and very mature growing in a hurry situation. I mean, you grow up real fast, you know? You face reality in a hurry.
Highly decorated with a Silver Star, 2 Bronze Stars, and 3 Purple Hearts, Gator doesn't talk about how he earned the medals during 2 tours.
It's things that you don't forget. This is one of our problems as veterans, too. We see things and experience things that people might see in a TV movie on their TV at home, you know, and say, oh, wow, that's what it was like. Well, not in all cases, no. But the scenario is still there. It's still impressed in your mind. But we find ourselves going back into those train of thoughts. You know, the bad things that happened to us. Watching our buddies get killed, you know, things of this nature.
This honor flight will be Gator's first trip to Washington, D.C.
I think it's going to be more of a eye-opening, inspirational visit for me personally. Because I have my brother's name is on the wall there. I have plenty of friends and buddies' names that are on the wall there. A lot of brothers. A lot of brothers. And it's going to be an emotional thing, you know. I sometimes don't look forward to it. I've often wanted to go see it when it's on tour, but I just couldn't get myself together enough to do it because of these feelings that we have inside of ourselves. He's on this one.
He finally made it to the Vietnam Memorial Wall.
That's his name.
Oh, that's James Robert?
Yeah, James Robert Patterson.
Bring you over there.
And he knows exactly where to find his brother.
There it is.
Miss you, brother. God, I miss you so much. Mom and Dad up there with you now, too. Yeah. And 2 boys is with you. I see you. I see you pretty soon. I hope. You know. I hope I see you pretty soon.
Next, on Honor Flight, The Price of Freedom. Women who proudly served in the U.S. military during the troubled times of the Korean and Vietnam eras, honoring the special commitment it took for them to wear the uniform.
how I got into the military. When I was in high school, there was about 3 or 4 of us that were all going to join, and they all chickened out, and I had to wait a year because they didn't want me when I first went in because I was too young.
Charlotte Kuntz from East Jordan joined the Women's Army Corps in the Korean War era.
We did everything. You know, we might have worked in the office with a man or with a veteran, but we had everything was our own. And and if men came into the barracks, they were hollering men on board, just like they would holler women on board. That's what they said with us.
A special section of the World War II Memorial is dedicated to all women who served.
Onward! March! Forward! Halt! Forward! Out! Ready! Right! Reset! Out!
At the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, reflecting on her service and the service of her military family.
I'm proud of this country. God bless us. I'm proud of the United States and of everybody who wears the uniform. My dad was in the Army. My aunt was in the Navy. My brother was a Marine. My husband was in the Navy. My daughter is in the Army, or was in the Army. I've got a great nephew right now who's a SEAL. He just became an officer. So I'm very proud.
And it was definitely male-dominated. There's no, you can't deny that one bit. And for us, we had to prove ourselves. We couldn't just be, just good. You had to be better or best in order just to even be considered equal with them.
Vicki Leonard joined the Air Force during Vietnam.
Because it was the early 70s, and a lot of people don't realize this, for women going into the military, it was not easy. I had to have my picture taken before I went in because the Air Force did not want to accept ugly women. And then I've also been told that there is a female that is part of this memorial. So I'm excited about that.
After a career in the Air Force, this is her first time at the Air Force Memorial in Washington, D.C.
Oh, that's easy. The one on the end is the female. The uniform gives it away. I was a jet engine mechanic when I first went in. And there was 3 other women that had gone through the flight line portion of being a jet engine mechanic. And none of them could handle it. So I was told that if you don't make it, they're not going to let anyone else be out there on the flight line. I said, okay, no pressure, no pressure. And I made it. I did good. I appreciate the fact that they let her be a member of the color guard as far as using the weapon, carrying the weapon. That's their trust and faith in the woman to be able to be there to back them up as needed. We were there, and we were there for a reason, and we proved that we could do it.
Next, on Honor Flight, The Price of Freedom, an outpouring of support and patriotism, and a touching welcome home that some never got before this honor flight.
Do we want to take our mind back down that same road that, we were trying to forget? And that's what happened. We start reflecting back on that days to where we had a bad day in combat, or our buddy got killed, or something of this nature. And then boom, you're right back where you started.
After a day of emotions, pride, and some painful memories looking back at their service, some Honor Flight veterans can't help but remember a very difficult return home.
When I came home in December, a week before Christmas of 1967, I was coming down through the Grand Rapids Airport, and I was 3 or 4 days late. There was nobody there to greet me yet. So This family is walking by me and they said, "Merry Christmas, welcome home, baby killer."
You get pointed at, you come off the airplane and you got your khakis on, and you're walking through the terminal, and here comes a family with small kids and they're pulling them off to the side to get away from you, or people will actually go out of their way to walk around you instead of saying hello, welcome home, thank you. You know, they avoided us.
This return home is going to be very different. Even the flight crew pulling out all the stops and a bugle to thank these men and women for their service.
Now, in the last few years, the push is on for the Vietnam vets. And it's nice. It's really nice.
And back at the airport in Grand Rapids, something like a 4th of July parade. A welcome home just for these veterans and all they've done for America.
It's the most worthwhile thing I've ever done, been a part of. You know, I love seeing the veterans. I love spending time with them, hearing their stories, but to see them get the recognition that they deserve for their service, it was just awesome.
We're brotherhood. We take care of each other. We got each other's six.
And if these honor flights show us just one thing, it may be that it's more important than ever to thank a veteran and let them know we have their six too.
I have a little saying. You know why the flag is always waving when the wind's not even blowing? Because throughout all of the wars that this country has been through up to the present day, the only reason that flag still waves, even just a little bit now, is because it's the last dying breath out of the soldier.